Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Mensah Alkebu-Lan. I'm a software engineer at Universal Equations. We're going to get into Strapi, but first, let's get some background, some introduction. Let's talk about a headless CMS, or even better than that, let's talk about a traditional CMS, and then lead into the headless CMS, and then we'll get into Strapi. Now, with a traditional CMS like WordPress, it's essentially a front end and a back end, kind of an all-in-one, kind of built into one. You can go in to your admin side, you can create pages, drag and drop. WordPress even has the short codes, and included with that, not only do you have PHP with WordPress, you also have to have your MySQL backend. So your database is holding data that eventually will render onto the site. So it's fairly complete as far as if you're trying to build a site. And this is a traditional CMS. Now, with a headless CMS, you're breaking the front end and the back end into two pieces. So your headless API typically feeds and pulls from a database or some back-end data store, I should say, which allows you, okay, why do they do that? So that allows for great flexibility. Also, given frameworks like WordPress, like Apache Straps. I guess I'll throw that into Apache Struts. I'm sorry. I guess I'll throw that into the conversation. These things are very popular. I think WordPress is used on probably over a third of the sites that are out there. Hackers will target it, and some of the more popular plugins, hackers will target those as well to try to get to your data, try to disrupt your site, etc. Not a good thing. And the people at WordPress and the people that create these popular plugins, they work very hard to stay one step ahead of the hackers. But obviously it is a concern. But I think even more so, I think developers are more concerned with the overall flexibility. Like I said, you can use a React-based front-end framework. You can use a Vue-based. When I say Vue, I'm talking Vue based front-end framework. So it provides some flexibility. Now, WordPress itself, just to show you how much WordPress has evolved, you can use it as a headless CMS as well. And we may even do a short video on that as well. Because with the proper plugins, I'm talking about with like GraphQL and everything, with the appropriate plugins, you can turn WordPress into a headless CMS. And with plugins like ACF, that opens up some real possibilities. Now, so let's get to Strapi, because we talked about traditional CMS, we talked about headless CMS. I think we can talk about Strapi now. Strapi is a headless CMS. It is also open source CMS, meaning that you can see the source code. And we'll get back to something related to that in a minute, because the big thing about Strapi is this: is typically when companies are able to raise millions of dollars for their tech, that generally piques interest for obvious reasons. And Strapi has been able to do that. They've been doing an incredible job. Now, the headless CMS technology has been evolving for a very long time. So, but generally when we talk about the headless CMS, we talk about them in terms of in groups. Butter CMS, Dado CMS. We talk about them in groups. So whenever an individual CMS can get some attention, then that is a well-earned accolade. And Strapi has been able to do that. So how does Strapi stand out? And I'll tell you, one of the main things is you're able to deploy it onto your own server. And that includes things like DigitalOcean, one-click deployment. You have Platform SH. Obviously, you can use I guess not all that obvious, but you can use Docker, which I think is great, which is something that we'll probably use here, because with the Docker, what we'll probably do is we'll provide some environmental variables at runtime so that it'll spin up the Strapi, and then we'll be able to manipulate the environment variables so that we can use whatever backend data store we want, whether it's MySQL it'll probably be MySQL. But there are choices. You can use MySQL, you can use MongoDB. We all know how easy it is to spin up a MongoDB cluster in the cloud. There are a number of services that allow you to do that. And you have Postgres, obviously, and internally, if you don't use a backend data store, you can use SQLite. So there's a lot of flexibility there as well, which I know a lot of you will find helpful, particularly if you already have a data source and you just want to create a Strapi specific database and kind of work from that. So I mean, that's probably what we'll do. And even in contrast to, because you can also create a Docker Compose. With the Docker Compose, you can spin up the data source within Docker, that a data source that can connect to the Strapi, I'll call it middleware, and spin that up kind of at the same time. But we generally like to have a database cloud service for a database, and then we'll spin up the Strapi individually, and then let it feed to the cloud service database. I mean, we like to keep our cloud databases separate, so we can migrate to different databases, and that gives us some additional flexibility as well. So I guess the theme overall is flexibility. So yes, you can deploy it to your own server, and that has its advantages, even if it's deployed to a server in the cloud. On your operating system that you like. We like Ubuntu for technologies like this. Now, it's very easy to install, I might add. You can use npm or Yarn. npm or Yarn. I'm kind of a Yarn guy myself, so I don't know how I stumbled on that. But you can use npm or Yarn. You can spin it up very easily. So it's a very attractive technology, and if you're looking for flexibility, if you're looking for in deployment and in your data source, I mean, Strapi is going to be it. Again, they've done a very good job. Like I said, it's open source. You can actually see the source code, and in the repo, they provide very good examples to get you going. So I think that I've taken up enough of your time here. So I'm gonna let y'all get back to work. Again, it's very easy to spin this thing up. And I love to see y'all, try it, and let me know what y'all think about it. But I think y'all will be satisfied. But anyhow, I'll let y'all digital hustlers get back to work. Have an amazing day. Peace.